Right. So you want to really get a handle on marketing models, how they work, where they came from, and how they've evolved over time.
Yep.
You've sent over a really interesting mix of articles and visuals, and even some really fascinating historical deep cuts.
Yeah.
So let's dive in.
Yeah, what might surprise you is how long some of these models have been around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're talking like AIDA back
Okay.
in 1898.
1898. That's like practically the horse and buggy era. Are you telling me that marketing strategies from back then still apply today?
Well, you'd be surprised. A lot of the core marketing principles
Huh.
are surprisingly timeless.
Okay.
The trick is understanding how they've adapted, especially with the rise of digital. That's what we'll be exploring, the
Right.
classics and the cutting edge.
Okay, so the sources lay out a timeline of 13 key models spanning from that 1898 to 2024.
Right.
And there's this awesome visual that connects them all, like a family tree of marketing concepts.
Yeah, that visual is going to be really helpful.
Yeah.
Because it shows how these models kind of build on each other. Some get pretty complex,
Okay.
but often you can see the DNA of those older ideas still present.
Right.
So we'll make sure to point those connections out.
Let's kick things off with AIDA then.
Right?
Attention, interest, desire, action.
Yep.
Created in 1898 by Elmo Lewis.
That's right.
And get this, it wasn't even for marketing at first.
Right.
He was actually focused on sales.
That's true.
Whoa.
Lewis was trying to figure out the most effective structure for his sales pitch.
Okay.
But think about it.
Yeah.
Those 4 steps are everywhere, even now.
Okay.
You see like catchy YouTube thumbnails.
Okay.
They grab your attention, right?
Yep.
And then the video builds interest and desire for whatever they're selling. And finally, there's that call to action to like subscribe or visit their website.
Right.
AIDA in action.
Okay, so that makes sense. But you're saying AIDA isn't quite enough anymore.
Right. The original model has its limitations,
Okay.
especially in today's digital world.
Yeah.
It doesn't really account for what happens after the purchase. That whole world of customer relationships and online engagement.
So how did marketers adapt AIDA for the digital age?
Well, they expanded it.
Okay.
Later versions added things like satisfaction and loyalty
Okay.
to capture those crucial post-purchase phases.
Oh, okay.
It's about recognizing that a single sale isn't the end goal anymore. You want to turn buyers into repeat customers and even brand advocates.
It makes you wonder what Elmo Lewis would think
I know, right?
of how his model has evolved.
Yeah.
Okay, next up on the timeline is the purchase funnel. This one's from around 1923.
Right.
And our sources say that the author is unknown. A bit of a marketing mystery.
It really is a mystery.
Yeah.
But the visual of the funnel is so iconic.
Yeah.
That idea of starting with a wide pool of potential customers and narrowing it down as you move them through the stages of awareness, interest, desire, and action.
It's so interesting given how popular the purchase funnel is that we don't know who came up with it. But like you said, the visual is super effective.
Yeah.
It really highlights how not every lead will become a customer.
Right.
There's a natural drop-off at each stage.
Exactly. And it helps marketers visualize that journey
Yeah.
and think about how to optimize each stage
Right.
to minimize those drop-offs.
Okay.
But much like AIDA, the traditional purchase funnel has its limitations.
Okay.
It's very focused on that initial purchase
Right.
and doesn't fully address the long-term
Okay.
repeat customer aspect.
Got it.
Yeah.
So moving on to 1961, we have Dagmar,
Okay.
Defining Advertising Goals for Measured Advertising Results,
Mm-hmm.
developed by Russell Colley.
Right.
This one seems like it was all about bringing accountability to marketing.
Yes, definitely.
Was this a response to companies wanting proof that their advertising dollars were actually working?
Absolutely. This was a time when marketing was starting to be held to a higher standard.
Okay.
It wasn't enough to have, like a catchy jingle or a clever ad campaign. You needed to show concrete results.
Right.
Dagmar emphasized measurable objectives. Things like increasing brand awareness by a certain percentage or improving product comprehension among your target audience.
So while Dagmar might seem a bit rigid compared to some of the other models,
Right.
that emphasis on measurement is more relevant than ever today, right?
Absolutely.
Especially in the digital world, where we can track practically every click and interaction.
You hit the nail on the head. The
Yeah.
ability to measure results is crucial for any marketer,
Yeah.
regardless of the model they're using.
Okay, let's fast forward to 1986
Okay.
with Jan Carlzon's Moments of Truth.
Okay.
This one really flips the script, doesn't it?
Yeah, in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not so much about the steps to a sale,
Mm.
but about all those little interactions a customer has with a brand.
It's a fascinating shift in perspective.
Yeah.
Carlzon, who was the CEO of SAS Airlines,
Ah.
had this amazing realization.
Okay.
Every single interaction, no matter how small,
Wow.
was a chance to make a positive or negative impression
Right.
on the customer.
Yeah.
He actually identified 50 million of these moments of truth within
Wow.
SAS. Think about that.
Yeah.
Every time someone interacted with a gate agent,
Uh-huh.
boarded a plane,
Mm-hmm.
even the cleanliness of the tray table,
Right.
it all contributed to their overall perception of the brand.
It makes you realize how much more there is to marketing than just advertising.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, the moments of truth model
Yeah.
has also evolved
Ah.
to include those digital touch points we were talking about,
Right.
your website, social media, online reviews.
Mm-hmm.
They've all become critical moments of truth in the customer journey.
So are you saying we should all be meticulously planning out every possible interaction?
Well, no, not really.
Okay.
It's not about like micromanaging every detail.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
more about fostering a customer-centric culture
Okay.
within your organization.
Mm-hmm.
It's about empowering your employees to deliver positive experiences at every touch point
Right.
and making sure your digital presence aligns with your brand values.
Okay, now we're getting into the 21st century. In 2009, we have the McKinsey Consumer Decision Journey,
Okay.
developed by David Court and his colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
This one seems to challenge the linear thinking
Yes.
of those earlier models we discussed.
That's right. The McKinsey model acknowledges that in the real world,
Yeah.
customers don't always move neatly from awareness to purchase.
Right?
Instead, they might loop back, do more research, compare options, and even talk to, friends and family
Yeah.
before making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
They called this the active evaluation phase. And it's a messy, iterative process that earlier models didn't fully capture.
It's interesting how this idea of a messy customer journey keeps popping up.
Yeah.
It feels like a big departure from that neat funnel-shaped path we saw earlier.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
And the McKinsey model also introduces a really important concept,
Okay.
the loyalty loop.
Okay.
If a customer has a positive experience with a brand,
Uh-huh.
they're more likely to skip that active evaluation stage the next time they need something
Right.
and go straight to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
It visually represents how you can turn one-time buyers into
Yeah.
loyal, repeat customers.
So that loyalty loop is key
They're
for
key.
any business that wants to thrive in the long term. It's
Yeah.
about building relationships,
Right.
not just chasing transactions.
Exactly. And it ties into a lot of the ideas we've been discussing,
Right.
from AIDA's focus on satisfaction
Yeah.
to the moments of truth
Hmm.
that shape a customer's perception of a brand.
Speaking of the digital world,
Yeah.
next up is Google's ZMOT, Zero Moment of Truth, developed in 2011 by Jim Lisinski.
Right.
This one seems to capture how much online research people do
Yeah.
before they ever walk into a store or click buy.
It's a game changer for
Well,
sure.
Right.
The ZMOT is that moment when a potential customer goes online
Okay.
to research a product or service.
Mm-hmm.
They might be reading reviews, comparing prices, watching product demos,
Yeah.
essentially forming opinions and making decisions
Yeah.
before they even interact directly with a brand.
It's like that pre-shopping phase that used to happen in brick and mortar stores.
Right.
But now it's all happening online.
Precisely.
Wow.
And it means your online presence,
Yeah.
your website, social media, those reviews we talked about,
Mhm.
they're often the very first impression a customer has of your brand.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to nail that ZMOT
Right.
if you want to even be in the running these days.
So if you're not showing up in those online searches,
Right.
or if your online reviews are terrible, you're basically sunk before you even start.
Pretty much.
Wow.
And this brings us back to the importance of moments of truth.
Right.
ZMOT is essentially a specific type of moment of truth,
Okay.
one that's become increasingly crucial in the digital age.
That connection makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the See, Think, Do, Care model
Right.
developed in 2013 by Avinash Kaushik,
Mm-hmm.
also from Google.
Right.
This one seems to take a more holistic view
It does.
of the customer journey.
It goes beyond just closing the sale
Okay.
and looks at how to build long-term relationships with customers.
And it breaks it down into 4 phases, right?
That's right.
See, making potential customers aware of your brand, giving them valuable information so they start considering your product or service.
Yep.
That's the actual purchase phase.
Right.
And then care, engaging with customers after the sale to encourage repeat business and build loyalty.
Exactly. And Kaushik gave this great example from the fashion industry to illustrate it.
Yeah.
Think about everyone who could potentially buy your clothes.
Okay.
That's the C phase.
Okay.
Then it narrows down to people who are actually thinking about buying clothes.
Right.
Maybe they need something for an upcoming event or something like that.
Right.
That's think do is when they're ready to buy and searching for specific items.
Yeah.
And finally, care is about nurturing those relationships with existing customers.
Okay.
Things like loyalty programs or sending personalized recommendations based on their past purchases.
So it seems like the key is staying top of mind throughout that whole journey
Yeah.
and making sure you're providing value at each stage.
You got it.
Yeah.
This model helps you visualize how to stay engaged with your audience long after that initial purchase.
Okay.
It's about building lasting relationships that translate into repeat business and positive word of mouth.
All right, next on our timeline is the flywheel, developed in 2014 by Brian Halligan and Dharmesh Shah of HubSpot. What I love about this one is the visual, that image of a spinning wheel gaining momentum as it goes.
The flywheel is a brilliant way to represent how customer satisfaction fuels growth. It throws that linear funnel out the window and shows marketing as a continuous cycle.
Okay.
You attract customers, you engage with them, you delight them with incredible experiences, and then those delighted customers become your biggest advocates,
Okay.
attracting even more customers.
Yeah.
It's a self-perpetuating cycle of growth.
And this model is closely tied to the idea of inbound marketing, right?
Exactly.
Where you're drawing customers in with valuable content and positive experiences instead of interrupting them with traditional advertising.
Exactly. The flywheel is all about building authentic relationships with your audience, providing value at every interaction, and creating a positive feedback loop that drives sustainable growth.
It's a really powerful concept. So moving on to 2015, we have the hourglass model.
Yeah.
Again, our sources don't mention a specific author for this one.
Right.
But it essentially takes the traditional funnel and flips it on its side, right?
That's right.
Okay.
The top half is familiar,
Yeah.
awareness, interest, consideration, purchase, but then it expands outwards to include all those post-purchase phases,
Okay.
like repeat buys, referrals,
Right.
and turning your customers into active brand advocates.
So it's acknowledging that the customer journey doesn't end at the checkout.
Right.
That sale is actually just the beginning of what could be a long and valuable relationship.
Exactly. And the hourglass model is especially relevant for businesses,
Okay.
where repeat business and word of mouth are essential for growth.
Right.
It highlights the importance of nurturing those relationships and creating experiences that inspire customers to come back for more and tell their friends about you.
Yeah. It's like turning your customers into your marketing team. All right, let's jump ahead to 2020.
Yeah.
And the messy middle,
Right.
developed by Alistair Rennie and Johnny Prothero, also from Google.
Right.
I'm already intrigued by the name.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It seems to perfectly capture the reality of how people make decisions these days.
Yeah.
What's so messy about it?
Well, it acknowledges that the customer journey is rarely a straight line from A to B.
Yeah.
Instead, people jump back and forth
Okay.
between two key phases. Exploration,
Okay.
where they're actively seeking information and comparing options, and evaluation, where they're weighing those options, often influenced by emotions, biases, and input from others.
It's like that feeling of going down a rabbit hole of online research.
Yes.
You start by looking for a new pair of running shoes, and 2 hours later, you're reading forum discussions about the biomechanics of different foot strike patterns.
That's a perfect example.
It's definitely messy.
It definitely is messy.
Yeah.
And the messy middle model goes deeper by identifying 6 specific cognitive biases that influence our decision-making in this phase.
Okay, that's getting a bit technical.
Yeah.
Can you give an example of one of those biases and how it might impact marketing?
So one of the biases they highlight
Okay.
is category heuristics,
Okay.
which basically means we rely on mental shortcuts based on our existing knowledge of a category.
Right.
For example, we might assume the most expensive option is also the highest quality.
Right.
As a marketer, understanding this bias could help you craft messaging
Okay.
that either leans into that perception or directly challenges it.
Right.
Depending on your product and target audience.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
It seems like understanding those biases is key to navigating the messy middle
Is.
and guiding customers towards a decision.
And this model really emphasizes the importance of providing clear, relevant, and easily digestible information to help customers navigate that complex decision-making process.
All right, let's move on to Meta's marketing model from 2021.
Okay.
This one seems like a very streamlined approach.
It is.
Focusing on just 3 stages: awareness, consideration, and conversion.
And it reflects Meta's dominance in the digital advertising landscape.
Right.
It's all about reaching the right audience at the right time with the right message, using all those sophisticated targeting and analytics capabilities that Meta offers.
It's like they're saying, forget all that messy middle stuff.
Kinda, yeah.
Just target your ads effectively and drive conversions.
Yeah.
But doesn't that miss out on the whole building relationships aspect we talked about earlier?
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
While Meta's model is incredibly effective for driving immediate action, it doesn't put much emphasis on long-term customer engagement or building brand loyalty.
Right.
It's more about capturing attention, driving traffic, and getting those clicks.
Interesting. It seems like each model has its strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And it's up to the marketer to decide which approach aligns best with their goals.
I agree.
All right. Finally, we've reached the most cutting-edge model in our lineup.
Okay, let's hear it.
The Dartboard model, developed in 2024 by Peter Ernie.
All right.
This one seems to be at the forefront of integrating AI into marketing.
Yeah. Interesting.
Tell me more.
This model is built on the concept of reception marketing,
Okay.
which is all about using data, algorithms, and AI to deliver the right message to the right person at the exact moment they're most receptive to it.
Okay. That sounds pretty futuristic. So are we talking about AI reading our minds?
Not quite mind reading, but it's getting close. It's about leveraging the massive amounts of data available today to understand individual preferences, online behavior, and even real-time context to predict what messages will resonate most at any given moment.
It's like taking personalized marketing to a whole new level. But how does the Dartboard model actually work?
Well, Ernie combines 2 key frameworks. First, he uses the See, Think, Do, Care model to create content that's tailored to each stage of the customer journey. Then he uses a simplified awareness, consideration, conversion model to determine the best channels and timing for delivering that content, powered by all that data and AI we talked about.
So it's like having a super smart AI assistant.
Yeah, kind of.
That knows exactly what content to show each person and when to show it to maximize impact.
You got it. And Ernie actually developed a software platform called Content Catalog that helps businesses put these concepts into action. It allows you to manage all your marketing content in one place, and then use AI to optimize its distribution across different channels and target specific audiences.
It sounds like a really powerful tool.
It is powerful.
So with the Dartboard model, it's almost like the AI is throwing those darts, aiming for the bullseye of customer receptivity.
Exactly.
It's taking the guesswork out of content marketing and making it hyper-personalized.
Exactly. And this is just the beginning.
Oh, wow.
As AI technology continues to evolve, we can expect to see even more sophisticated models like this emerging in the coming years.
Well, we've certainly covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we have.
It's amazing to see how marketing models have evolved from those early days of AIDA to these AI-powered frameworks that are shaping the future of the industry.
It's been a fascinating journey. And we're only halfway through our exploration.
Oh, really?
We've still got more models to unpack and some crucial distinctions to make that will help you make sense of all this information.
Okay, you've definitely piqued my interest.
Good.
What's next on our marketing model adventure?
Well, we've been talking a lot about the customer journey.
Yeah.
But there's actually an important distinction to make between the buyer journey and the customer journey.
Interesting.
It's a subtle difference, but one that has a big impact on which models you choose and how you approach your marketing strategy.
All right, I'm all ears. Let's dive into that distinction and see how it plays out with the remaining models on our list.
Let's do it. So we've been, we've been talking about this customer journey, but there's actually a subtle yet important distinction to make between the buyer journey and the customer journey.
Got it.
And understanding the difference can really impact how you apply these marketing models.
Okay. I'm intrigued. They sound pretty similar.
Yeah.
What's the key difference?
Think of it this way.
Okay.
The buyer journey is laser focused on the steps a customer takes leading up to a purchase.
Okay.
It's about their motivations, their needs, the whole decision-making process.
Yes.
And ultimately, what pushes them to hit that buy button.
So the buyer journey is all about acquisition, getting that initial sale.
Exactly. And many of the models we've already discussed, like AIDA, the purchase funnel, even Meta's streamlined approach, they're very much geared towards that buyer journey. They're about understanding how to get people through the door, so to speak.
Okay, but the customer journey is broader. It's about the entire relationship with a brand.
Yes.
Not just that first transaction.
You nailed it. The customer journey starts from the very first interaction someone has with your brand.
Okay.
That could be seeing an ad, visiting your website, or hearing a friend mention your product.
Right.
It encompasses every touch point.
Wow.
From that initial awareness
Yeah.
all the way through to repeat purchases.
Okay.
Loyalty, maybe even becoming a vocal advocate.
Right.
Who recommends your brand to others.
So it's much more holistic.
It is.
Looking at the entire life cycle of that customer relationship.
Exactly.
Not just the steps leading to a single sale.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And models like See, Think, Do, Care, the flywheel, the hourglass, they're all about understanding and nurturing that broader customer journey.
I'm starting to see how this distinction is crucial when choosing which marketing model to use.
It is.
So how would you advise our listener to approach this? How do they decide if they should be focusing on the buyer journey or the customer journey?
It really boils down to your goals and your business model.
Right.
If your main focus is driving immediate sales, maybe you have a short sales cycle, or a product that's typically a one-time purchase, then a model that emphasizes the buyer journey might be your best bet.
But if you're looking to build those long-term relationships, turn customers into repeat buyers, and really cultivate loyalty, then you need a model that encompasses that whole customer journey.
Exactly. It's like choosing the right tool for the job.
Right.
You wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a light bulb.
Haha. Yeah, okay, so let's look at the remaining models on our list.
Right.
Through this lens of buyer journey versus customer journey.
Okay.
Up next is Google's ZMOT, the zero moment of truth.
Yes.
Where does this one fit in?
ZMOT is fascinating.
Okay.
Because it kind of straddles the line.
Okay.
On one hand, it's about that initial research phase.
Right.
So it's definitely part of the buyer journey.
Okay.
But it also recognizes that consumers are forming opinions and making decisions before they even interact with a brand directly, which has implications for the entire customer journey.
So are you saying that ZMOT is more than just a step in the buyer journey? It's also a crucial moment that sets the tone for the entire customer relationship.
You hit the nail on the head.
Wow. All right.
It's about managing those first impressions, making sure you're showing up in the right places online, providing valuable information, and building trust from the very beginning.
All right, that makes sense. What about the See, Think, Do, Care model?
Okay.
Which journey does that align with?
See, Think, Do, Care is squarely focused on the customer journey.
Okay.
It's about nurturing those relationships over time, providing value at each stage, and turning one-time buyers into loyal advocates.
Remember that fashion example Kaushik used?
Yeah, great example.
It's not just about getting someone to buy a dress for that one event. It's about keeping them engaged, providing style inspiration, maybe offering personalized discounts based on their past purchases.
Exactly.
And ultimately turning them into a lifelong customer.
Precisely. And the care phase is really where this model shines.
Okay.
It emphasizes the importance of continuing to engage with customers. Even after they've made a purchase. It's about building those lasting connections that translate into repeat business and positive word of mouth.
Speaking of building momentum, the flywheel seems like another model that's all about the customer journey.
It is.
What?
Absolutely. The flywheels is about creating a self-sustaining cycle of growth driven by customer delight.
Okay.
You attract customers with valuable content and experiences. You engage with them in meaningful ways.
Right.
You exceed their expectations.
Yeah.
And then they become your biggest fans,
Right.
attracting even more customers to the flywheel.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful illustration of how a customer-centric approach can lead to exponential growth.
It almost feels like those delighted customers become an extension of your marketing team, spreading the word and bringing new people into the fold. It's like a snowball effect, but instead of snow, it's happy customers.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And it highlights how the flywheel goes beyond just acquiring customers.
Right.
It's about creating a community, a loyal following that believes in your brand and actively contributes to its success.
Okay, so we've established that the flywheel is all about the customer journey.
Yeah.
What about the hourglass model?
Okay.
Does it fall into the same camp?
It does,
Okay.
although it has a slightly different emphasis.
Okay.
Remember how the hourglass expands outwards after the purchase stage?
Right.
It highlights the importance of those post-purchase phases, repeat buys, referrals, turning customers into advocates.
Right.
It's almost like taking the traditional funnel
Right.
and flipping it on its side
Yeah.
to emphasize the importance of nurturing relationships
Okay.
and maximizing customer lifetime value.
So with the hourglass, you're not just guiding customers down a funnel towards a single transaction.
Right.
You're widening the path to encourage them to stick around and become part of your brand's ecosystem.
Exactly. And this model can be particularly relevant for businesses that rely heavily on repeat business subscriptions or word-of-mouth marketing.
Right.
Think about companies like Netflix
Okay.
or Spotify.
Right.
They're constantly working to keep their existing customers engaged and happy
Yeah.
because they know that churn can be a killer.
Right. It's like building a moat around your business, making it harder for competitors to steal your customers away.
Exactly.
Because those customers are so deeply embedded in your ecosystem.
That's a great way to visualize it.
Yeah.
And it brings us back to that fundamental distinction
Right.
between the buyer journey and the customer journey.
Yeah.
Are you focused on simply acquiring customers? Or are you building an experience that keeps them coming back for more?
Right.
The models you choose should reflect those priorities.
All right. Let's move on to the messy middle.
Okay.
This one seems like it could apply to both journeys, right?
It can.
Okay.
After all, that back and forth
Yeah.
research-heavy phase can happen whether it's your first purchase or your 10th.
Right. Exactly.
The messy middle can definitely play a role
Okay.
in both the buyer journey and the customer journey.
Yeah.
It highlights the reality that decision-making is rarely linear.
Right.
Especially with so much information available online.
Exactly.
Customers are constantly looping back, gathering more information, comparing options, and seeking validation from their social networks.
So if we're thinking about the buyer journey, the messy middle emphasizes the importance of providing clear, concise information to help potential customers navigate that decision-making process and ultimately choose your product.
Exactly. It's about understanding their pain points, anticipating their questions, and providing the information they need in a way that's easily digestible and relevant to their needs.
But how does the messy middle apply to the customer journey?
Well, even loyal, repeat customers might go through a messy middle phase when they're considering a new product from your brand, or when their needs change. For example, imagine someone who's been a loyal customer of your athletic wear brand for years, always buying their running shoes from you. But now they're getting into trail running and need a different type of shoe.
So they're back in that exploration and evaluation phase.
Yes.
Even though they already have a strong relationship with the brand.
Exactly. They might start researching different trail running shoes,
Right.
reading reviews, comparing features,
Yeah.
and maybe even seeking recommendations from other trail runners in their network.
Right.
They're back in that messy middle,
Yeah.
even though they're already a loyal customer.
That makes a lot of sense. It seems like the key is to be there for them
It is.
during those messy moments, to provide the information and support they need to make an informed decision,
Right.
regardless of where they are in their relationship with your brand.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that customer needs are constantly evolving.
Right.
And being prepared to guide them through those decision-making processes.
Yeah.
Whether it's their first purchase or their 50th.
Okay, now the Dartboard model seems like it's mainly focused on the buyer journey.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about delivering the right message at the right time
Uh-huh.
to drive those conversions.
You're right. The dartboard model is primarily geared towards
Yeah.
optimizing that initial purchase decision.
Right.
It's about leveraging data and AI to identify those moments of peak receptivity and then delivering highly targeted messaging to capitalize on those moments.
It's almost like a precision marketing strike force,
Uh-huh.
analyzing data,
Right.
predicting behavior, and then hitting customers with the perfect message at the perfect time.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
But while the dartboard model's primary focus is on acquisition, its underlying principles can also be applied to the customer journey.
Okay.
Remember how it uses the see, think, do, care model to create content tailored to each stage?
Right.
That same thinking can be applied to nurturing those long-term relationships and providing value throughout the entire customer life cycle.
So even though the dartboard model might be aiming for those bullseye conversions, it still recognizes the importance of providing valuable content and experiences that resonate with customers at every stage of their journey.
Exactly. It's about using data and AI to personalize those experiences, to deliver the right message to the right person at the right time, whether they're a first-time visitor or a loyal brand advocate.
Okay, so we've explored a lot of different models.
Yeah, we have.
And I'm starting to see how this distinction between the buyer journey and the customer journey can really shape your marketing strategy.
Yeah, it can.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to the purchase funnel. We touched on it briefly earlier.
Yeah.
But it's such a classic model.
It is a classic.
That I think it deserves a bit more attention.
I agree. The purchase funnel is one of those foundational models that stood the test of time.
Right.
Even though the marketing landscape has changed dramatically since it was first introduced back in the 1920s.
It's almost like the granddaddy of marketing models.
I like that.
So let's break it down a bit further.
Okay.
Remember, it's that visual of a funnel with a wide top representing the largest pool of potential customers and then narrowing down as you move through the stages of awareness, interest, desire, and action.
Exactly. And while some might argue that the purchase funnel is too simplistic and doesn't reflect the complexities of modern customer journeys, I think it still provides a valuable framework for understanding the basic flow of how people move from being completely unaware of your brand to making a purchase.
Like a roadmap, even if there might be some detours and side trips along the way.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And even though the traditional purchase funnel is often depicted as a linear process, I think it can be adapted to accommodate those more complex, nonlinear journeys we talked about earlier.
So how would you adapt the purchase funnel for the modern marketing landscape?
Well, one way is to think about it as a series of loops rather than a straight line.
All right.
Customers might loop back to earlier stages. They might exit the funnel and re-enter later. And they might even skip stages entirely.
So instead of that rigid funnel shape, it's more like a spiral with customers circling back and revisiting different stages as they gather information, evaluate options, and make decisions.
Exactly. And another way to adapt the purchase funnel is to integrate it with other models. For example, you could incorporate elements of the messy middle to acknowledge that decision-making is rarely linear. Or you could add a loyalty loop to highlight the importance of nurturing those long-term customer relationships.
It seems like the key is to view the purchase funnel as a starting point.
Yes.
A basic framework that you can then customize and build upon to reflect the unique nuances of your target audience and your business goals.
You got it.
Yeah.
It's about using these models as tools, as frameworks for thinking. Rather than as rigid rules to be followed blindly.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive.
We have.
Exploring the difference between the buyer journey and the customer journey and how those concepts apply to various marketing models. It's been a fascinating exploration of the evolution of marketing thought.
It really has.
And the ever-changing landscape of how brands connect with consumers.
And as we move into the final part of our deep dive, I think it's important to step back and reflect on the bigger picture. What are the key takeaways for our listener?
Yeah.
What should they be thinking about as they apply these models to their own marketing efforts?
That's a great point. We've thrown a lot of information their way.
We have.
So let's distill it down to the most important insights and leave them with some actionable advice as they embark on their own marketing adventures.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've explored this timeline of marketing models from the early days of AIDA to these AI-powered, precision of the Dartboard model.
Yeah.
It's been quite a journey. But now I'm thinking, what does all this mean for our listener? They've got all these different models swirling around in their head.
Yeah.
Where do they even begin to apply this to their own business?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get overwhelmed with all these frameworks. I think the key takeaway here is not to treat these models as rigid rules, but rather as tools for thinking.
Right.
Each model offers a different lens through which to view the customer journey. And the most valuable insights often come from combining those perspectives.
So are you saying it's not about picking one perfect model and sticking to it? Instead, it's about understanding the core principles and adapting them to your specific goals and audience.
Exactly. It's about being adaptable. Experimenting with different approaches and finding what works best for your unique situation.
Right.
Think of these models as a starting point, a source of inspiration to spark your own creative thinking.
That's a really helpful way to frame it.
Yeah.
It's not about following a formula. It's about using these models as a springboard for your own marketing strategy.
Exactly.
So if our listener is feeling a bit lost in the sea of models, what's a good first step?
I'd say the most important thing is to have a deep understanding of your target audience. Who are they? What are their needs, motivations, pain points? Where do they hang out online? What influences their purchasing decisions?
It's all about getting into the heads of your customers and understanding their journey.
Exactly.
And once you have that clarity, you can start to see which models resonate most with their behavior and your business goals.
Precisely. For example, if you're selling like a complex software solution to businesses. A model like the McKinsey Consumer Decision Journey. Which highlights that active evaluation phase. Might be a good fit. But if you're selling like, I don't know, trendy clothing to a younger audience on social media, a more streamlined approach like Meta's marketing model might make more sense.
And remember, you don't have to choose just one.
No.
You can mix and match elements from different models.
To create a hybrid approach that's tailored to your specific needs.
It's about being flexible and finding the right blend of tools and strategies. Don't be afraid to experiment. Test different approaches. Track your results. And see what resonates with your audience.
It's all about that continuous learning.
It is.
And adaptation,
Absolutely. New models will emerge, new technologies will disrupt the landscape, consumer behavior will continue to shift. The key is to stay curious, stay informed, and be willing to adapt your approach as needed.
So even though we've explored a wide range of models, this is really just the starting point for our listener.
It is.
Their own marketing journey is just beginning.
And that's the exciting part. They have the power to take these concepts, these frameworks, and shape them into something unique and powerful. They can create marketing strategies that truly resonate with their audience.
Build lasting relationships and drive sustainable growth.
It's almost like we've given them a toolbox full of different instruments.
I like it.
And now it's up to them to compose their own marketing symphony.
I love that analogy. It perfectly captures the creative potential that lies ahead. And as they experiment, I encourage them to reflect on their own experiences as consumers. You know, which models resonate with their own buying journey? Which brands have truly mastered the art of connecting with them? Those personal insights can be incredibly valuable as they craft their own marketing strategies.
That's such a great point. Sometimes the best inspiration comes from our own experiences.
I think so.
Those moments when a brand truly wows us or makes us feel understood.
Exactly. And remember, the ultimate goal of all these models is to build meaningful connections with your audience. To create experiences that resonate and to foster relationships that benefit both sides.
It's about creating those win-win scenarios where customers feel valued.
Right.
And your business thrives as a result.
Exactly.
Well, we've certainly covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
But hopefully we've left our listener feeling inspired and empowered, not overwhelmed.
You've accomplished that.
Yeah.
We've given them a solid foundation to build upon.
All right.
And now it's up to them to take those tools and create something amazing.
So as we wrap up, I just want to say a huge thank you to our experts for sharing their incredible knowledge and insights.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm always excited to talk about the fascinating world of marketing.
Yeah.
And I hope our listener has enjoyed this deep dive as much as I have.
And to our listener, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep experimenting, and never stop learning.
Right.
The world of marketing is full of endless possibilities.
It is.
And we can't wait to see what you create.
Until next time, happy marketing.